Coming up on All About Android, it's me, Jason Howell, my co-hosts Ron Richards and Win Twit Dow. And let's just say we've got a ton of news this week. So much so, in fact, that we couldn't fit it all into the show. So you might get some breaking news. I'm just letting you know, you might hear it. But we talk about Android 13 Beta 4, Samsung Unpacked announced. We have the date for that. The new Snapdragon W5 Plus for Wear OS 3 and some new devices coming out with Wear OS 3 that aren't Samsung. Nova Launcher acquired by a metrics company. Ad blockers for Android. And I'm telling you, that's like a third of what we talked about tonight. So you don't want to miss it. All About Android up next.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by ClickUp, the productivity platform that'll save you 1 day a week on work guaranteed. Use code ANDROID to get 15% off ClickUp's massive unlimited plan for a year, meaning you can start reclaiming your time for under $5 a month. Sign up today at clickup.com. Hurry, this offer ends soon. And by Wealthfront, get a bonus $50 when you start investing with Wealthfront. So sign up today. Just visit wealthfront.com/twit. And by checkout.com. Modern businesses need flexible payment systems that can help them adapt to change, grow, and scale fast. Discover how checkout.com can help your business thrive at checkout.com/Android. Hello and welcome to All About Android. This is episode 587, recorded on Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. Your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful, and we have a lot of those to talk about tonight. I'm Jason Howell.
And I am Ron Richards.
And I'm Win Twit Dow.
Oh, yeah. How's it going, team?
It's the summer doldrums. It's 92 degrees here in New York, and I'm ready to talk about Android. So
you're ready to talk about is doldrums like what does doldrums mean? Like, I know I hear it and I go, oh yeah, summer doldrums, but is that like a bad thing or a good thing?
Doldrums means a state or period of inactivity, stagnation, or depression. So
okay. Okay.
I feel neither inactive, stagnant, or depressed. So
it feels like you have that already pulled up and ready to go.
Doldrums wasn't I'm a very fast Googler. Doldrums probably wasn't the correct word in that instance there. The dog days of summer, maybe, perhaps?
Okay, maybe that. But yeah, I'm curious to know what that means. Because when I heard doldrums, that's what I think is like kind of slow. And today, I feel like we are not short or on news tonight. We have a lot.
So the dog days of summer, according to the Farmer's Almanac, are July 3rd to August 11th, and they're the hottest and most unbearable days of the season. And here we are, July 19th, where it is 92 degrees in New York, and it is unbearable because it is so hot.
You nailed it.
So there it is. Yeah.
The dog days of Android. You nailed it.
There it is. The dog days of Android. That's going in the title.
Good. It's nice to get the title out of the way right at the top.
Yeah.
Hey, before we jump into the plethora, the cornucopia of news that we have on tap tonight, why don't we start with a little breaking news? Just for giggles. Yeah. Because shortly before showtime, this was breaking to me anyways. News has been out for a few hours now, but and I couldn't find anywhere else in the rundown to fit it because there's so much news. So why not do it before it all starts? Google is going. So you remember Google I/O where they talked about their AR glasses, and I think there was the translation glasses. A lot of people were like, "Is this Google Glass? The next generation TNG?" Well, apparently Google is going to start beta testing these in August. So here we go. I don't know how wide or far this is going to be. I actually think it's going to be a pretty small controlled test with just some internal people and then some chosen people out in the world. And actually Engadget says a few dozen people, trusted testers and Google employees. But what you think?
I still can't believe they're doing this because they're never going to live down Google Glass. No one's ever. These could be the greatest thing, and people are still going to make Google Glass jokes. So
yeah, it's true.
Quinn, what do you think? Are you excited for this?
I'm excited for it. Although I will note that the article shown the subtitle was "Hopefully no glass hole this time." So to your point, Ron, to your point, Ron, people still feeling the feels about, here's hoping there's no glass all this time. But I'm actually really excited, especially for the translation. As someone who's Vietnamese American and speaks particularly no Vietnamese, I'm really excited to put these on my face and stop embarrassing myself at family reunions. So I don't know, like I really like the focus. It's not just for me. It's unselfishly, I really like the focused kind of purpose of them, the tasks. They look kind of neat, and I don't know, like we were saying, like Google I/O isn't, has kind of felt like a lot of hype and less promises. I'm ready for something to be fulfilled and for me to actually understand what all my older aunties and uncles are saying at family reunions. So I'm ready. Gimme.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Gimme. Yeah.
Of course, it's not going to be rolled out in quite the same bombastic way, I imagine, as Google Glass was. So we're probably going to have to wait. I mean, if they're just beta testing this now, what do you think? A year, two, maybe? I don't know. Like this feels early, but who knows? Maybe next year's hardware event will include glasses. That would be actually kind of interesting if they did that. Hey, let's do a twofer. You got that breaking news bumper ready? Let's just do it again, like 2 in a row. Here's another breaking news. Sure, why not? Prepare yourself.
Breaking news.
I know. You know what? Actually, this is a good technique for when there's too much news to fit in. I'll just do the bonus things before the news and make it breaking news. Yeah. But we also, More! Samsung's next Unpacked event is now officially announced, August 10th. So here in less than a month, we're going to hear all about their next foldables, the Z Fold. What are we on the 4 now? The Z Flip 4. I don't know what else beyond that, but definitely all of the foldables coming in.
So thanks to Scooter X in the chat room watching live with this breaking news. But if the press release from Samsung on their site says the invitation says Unpacked August 2022, unfold your world.
Unfold your world.
So we're gonna see, and it's got a little video of a foldable spinning and folding and unfolding and that sort of thing. So I'm curious what more Samsung has to unfold at their Unpacked event. And shouldn't they change it from Unpacked to Unfolded?
Yeah,
Unpacked probably works a little better. Yeah. So
I mean, Unpacked is the nomenclature that they've used so far, and still, if you get a foldable device, you still have to remove it from the box. So I guess that fits everything. But 95 Google says foldables, wearables, and earbuds on August 10th. So we're going to get a lot of Samsung products happening then, and Samsung just knows how to make West Coasters feel awesome. They put the event at 9 a.m. Eastern, so a nice 6 a.m. keynote for me to wake up and report on, which I'm sure I'll be doing for this event, but that's okay. I'm usually up by then anyway, so there we go.
Man.
Excited?
I like foldables, so we'll see.
Yeah?
I'm excited.
We'll
sure.
I want them to just surprise us with a rollable.
Yes,
a rollable
foldable. I need a rollable to go with my foldable. I need the whole collection of things.
I want a rollable tablet. That's what I want. I want a big rollable. Give me like a 10-inch rollable.
Could happen. Anything can happen. This is Samsung.
I mean, let's go for 13 inches.
Why not?
Why 10?
Let's just keep pushing. Yeah. Go for it.
Heck yeah.
That could be the Pro. That could be a rollable Pro.
A rollable wall.
That'd be cool.
Anything could happen. This is Samsung after all. So there we go. We got all the breaking news out of the way, unless there's any other news that breaks throughout the show, which you never know. Could happen. But if it doesn't, that's okay, because we are armed with plenty of news this week. Let's jump in. Or kind of walk in. Maybe slowly move in.
Well, I kind of had this whole thing where I was going to talk about the Google Glass thing, and then I was going to play this.
What is
Burke, it's so tired.
Yeah, I gave up.
It's so tired.
Oh, man.
Holy cow.
Yeah, you're
Look at it. Oh, right there. Have you never tried?
okay. Fine. There we go. You got it. Yes, yes, yes. Ron was very excited about Google Glass
Wait,
back then.
can we take a moment for our video viewers to? We're watching a video from years ago. Can we look at Jason's hair?
Oh, this is so cool.
By the way,
Everybody has really nice hair.
Swirly hair.
everybody's 10
My long
years
swirly hair face.
ago haircuts are not did not stand the test of time.
It's 60.
Look, you have very nice hair. You had a nice haircut, Ron. Everything's okay.
Yeah, I have
it's
the
a
same
safe
cut.
place. It's a safe place.
Stop talking. Stop. Sorry.
I love her in chat.
This is
All right. All
Well,
right,
wait,
all
wait.
right.
We're about to see everybody's awesome hair.
Oh, that's
Okay.
so cool.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
How does that work?
Oh,
Or you could just
San
say that-
Francisco.
I was pretty amazed by this technology. I'll just say that.
You were, and I have to say, like that's what was so so fun to watch this little clip down of that particular episode because you were excited.
I was
right?
excited.
And When's the last time that like we've gotten like legitimately this excited about technology, right? Like about a new
because
like
that was
technology.
honestly the first time I had used it. I'd never used it before, and never
Yeah.
saw, and when you see a display floating in front of your face, that was. I mean, I look like Geordie LaForge here, but still, but it was like
That's okay.
it was definitely it felt different. It felt like the first time
Yeah.
I got in front of a computer or something like that. It's a bummer it didn't work out, but maybe the AR glasses will work out. So who knows?
Maybe they will. Maybe
But-
they will.
Thank you, Burke, for that distraction from the actual news, which is a pretty big deal, which is the fact that the Android 13 Beta 4 is out. And what that means is that the official release is not far behind. On the timeline, this is actually the last beta before the final release comes out in the upcoming months. It doesn't add any features. It's just refining the OS further, and it gives calls to developers to finalize their testing ahead of the full release. So here we are. We're on Android 13 Eve with the last beta coming out. Huyn, tell me, like, is it a feeling of dread or like how I felt in high school on a Sunday night knowing I had to go to school the next day when you find out that the official release is coming, like you've got all this work to do to get the app working, or is usually by this point you're calm, cool, collected, you've done all the work you need to do?
well, this year I am cool, calm, and collected because I am currently
You got nothing to
in
do.
between
Yeah.
jobs. I got nothing to do. But normally, I'm just. This is like actually the first year I haven't been thinking this hard about. I haven't been thinking about the release from a more developer perspective. I'm just kind of enjoying it as a consumer. But if I was employed at the moment, I would be a little bit. It would be stressful. Like it kind of depends on what's in it and how prepared and what your particular apps gotchas might be. So some years it's totally chill. You're probably already set from like months ahead. And then sometimes there are breaking changes and you're just like really trying to get it like together as fast as possible. And oh my gosh, why I don't understand why this doesn't work. Get someone from Google here, help. So it took a range. It really depends on like your app, what you need, and more specifically what's in the release. So I think this year, especially with like the predictive back not breaking anything yet, it's chill. So we'll just wait. I would love to see in a year how many of my friends are just like having to do the back button dance of like compatibility and backporting next year. But it really depends. I'm just gonna watch everybody else flail this year.
You're cool as a cucumber.
It's gotta be
Cucumber.
It's a good year. It's a good year to be you to take this
It is
moment
a
in
good
time
year.
off.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Well, like the new version of Android, still, it's next, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's soon. Like, when does it usually drop? It's September-ish, right?
September,
like we're probably
fall.
going to go a month. Yeah, fall. So, yeah, we've still got some time before it officially releases. And then once it officially releases, like which devices are even going to get it? I feel like we parrot this every single year just because it continues to be true. But, like, okay, great, it's officially released. But unless you're on a certain, series of Pixels and maybe a couple of Samsung devices and everything, you're still going to be waiting days, weeks, or months in order to even see it, if you're going to see it at all. And that's the wah, wah, wah moment of any major update for Android. There you go. Sorry to bring it down and bum you out, but there we go.
Oh well. All right.
It's just the truth. It's just the way it is.
Well, I can't think of
Why do you
anything
think
that's more of a bum out thing than talking about the EU. So, Jason, why don't you do the next story?
Yeah. So up next in our bum out session, let's see here. Yeah, that pretty much works. It's a little tinny and high pitched, but anyways, Google announced changes to its billing system. We've been talking about this, right? Like both Google and Apple are really in the crosshairs around using its own payment systems in apps and more so requiring developers on Android and on iOS to use their payment systems that they're making, all the beautiful money that comes from that 15% cut, that sort of thing. Well, the EU has been making changes, right? The Digital Markets Act was passed in the European Parliament this month. And as a result, Google has announced changes to its billing system in the EU to appease regulators in that country, in those countries rather. Non-games, now this applies to apps that are not games, right? If it's a game, it's a different story. But if it's not a game, developers will be able to provide alternative billing systems for purchases and in-app transactions. And instead of the 15% take that Google will pull out for using their own in-app payment system, developers will pay 12% when using a third-party payment system. So they get a 3% discount when doing this. This applies to 27 EU countries in the European Economic Area. Others are still going to have to use Google's system. And then, of course, games still using Google's system. So a 3% discount. This, by the way, has happened in South Korea already. There, you get a 4% discount if you're using a third-party payment system. And then we already know that the U.S. is really, in many ways, working towards this destination as well to end App Store monopolies. So we're probably going to see something like this in the future. When anytime it's a story like this, have to kind of pose the question to you: if as a developer, 15% take from Google using its in-app payment system, 12% take when using a third-party payment system. Do you feel like that's a fair trade-off?
No.
It seemed like a little to me, but I'm not sure. I'm not a developer.
I mean, like for especially for like big companies where I used to be, I won't say where I'm going yet, but where I used to be, like I think 3% still, especially for a big company, can be significant. And it's interesting that it's non-games versus games are admitted, because we know how generally speaking, traditionally games have been more revenue generating than non-games, although I think that actually changed recently. So I have to say, like 3% would make it. It's interesting because I think, for any developer, more money is more money, right? Like they're happy to get back whatever they can. But I'd say, like, in terms of raw dollars, they kind of like, well, I mean, if you're a large company making thousands of dollars from your apps, that might be significant. For your independent developer small shop trying to make a living, that doesn't seem like, a big enough margin to really, I don't know, incentivize or set free kind of like, and encourage like smaller developers. I mean, and I've never had to run a small development shop myself. Maybe 3% can be like the difference between life and death, but I would really like to see more of a significant change, given how much Google has been stonewalling and just so, hardcore about their play billing rules recently and all the different fights on many fronts. I would have liked to see a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. 3% just doesn't seem like a lot for people to really break through in a market that is just hyper saturated by companies that, can give or take 3%. So not happy about. I mean, it's progress, but
well, the question that I have, or another question I have about this rather, is because I truly, like, I'm not a developer, so I don't know, the kind of the machinations of using an alternative billing system. If I'm a developer and I choose to use an alternative billing system and I have to pay Google 12% of the sales, I still also have to pay the billing system that I am using something as well, right? Yeah. So it ends up being about the same, maybe, like, or maybe more, because is that system going to want to take more than 3%? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then maintenance costs, and like, I mean, presumably anytime you have two of something that need to coordinate or be, when you have two different payment systems, I can only guess that context and making sure that you have double the testing and double, like, all of the contingencies for handling two different payment systems, that's more overhead. So that probably also eats into that 3%. So again, I totally agree. I just think that it's not really much of anything considering the actual value of, or the actual cost of having a third-party billing system, even if it's like, charges you nothing. But that's not good. Google won't care that it costs you extra or that you do have more maintenance and more QA to do with multiple billing systems. They're just like, here's 3% off. Have fun.
Yeah.
Without us. So I don't know. Very little.
Curious to see how that plays out. I mean, it really does seem like they're going to end up paying more if they do that. What's up, Ron?
This whole thing reminds me of, it doesn't remind me, but it just shows like the evolution of a marketplace or the evolution of an economic kind of thing that eventually moves forward and squeezes the independent creator. And like, and admittedly, and the irony of this is that this is done with the EU trying to squeeze Google or squeeze the big tech firms into making it more of a level playing field, but somehow the tables get turned now and the independent developer gets screwed, right? So,
Right. And Google's in a position, Google has to know that like, okay, we're taking a 3% loss here, but no one's going to do that, because if they do that, then they're going to be paying 17% or 20% or whatever it is. And with us, they only pay 15. You know what I mean? So just, that doesn't give me a good taste in my mouth.
No.
But that's a bummer. Well, who knows? I guess we'll find out. I'll be curious to know more specifically. And actually, if you are a developer out there and you are considering using a third-party payment system, or you're familiar with a third-party paying system that you could use inside of Android, and you have a good understanding, a true understanding of the cut that we're talking about here, email us, AAA@twit.tv. Let us know what you know or what you think, and we'd love to hear from you. We'll put it into a future show. All right. When you got the last one?
Well, the want train continues because we're going to talk about data safety and the data safety section, which is now replacing, not living with, but replacing the previous app permission section in Google Play. The deadline for developers to submit their data safety information is tomorrow, Wednesday, July 20th. And now that we've just about crossed that deadline for developers to basically state what and how they use user data, it's a little more clear that, okay, rather than having the previous system of sometimes a little bit hard to, grok, listings of declared permissions, which is basically, it was a list of the permissions that the developers are asking the system to give them. In lieu of this, we're having more or less a survey, a form that developers had to fill out, stating for each of a number of different datas and permissions, location, user personal data information, all that kind of stuff, that they were using it, and also what it's used for. There's also kind of some other extras, like, developers can state whether, data is encrypted in transit, whether they give users the option to delete data. And on the surface, it seems like more of a user-friendly, more informational, more explanatory discussion of data. But, before, the app permission list was found by scanning the app and then pulling out those values for the app permissions, which, if you're somewhat savvy, you can understand what's going on and kind of guess what the developer needs it for. Now, this system, the developers are telling you what they're going to use it for, but this is not automatically done. It's developers volunteering the information and giving you an answer based on the honor system. And then Google claims that, they will review and they may take some appropriate action if it's found that there's a discrepancy between your declared behavior and what your app actually does. So again, this is replacing, the previous hard factual information, as obscure or esoteric as it might be, with more, human understandable explanations, but developers can certainly fib and lie. And as Ron Amadio notes in his article about the kind of, final rollout of this data safety section, I mean, they can lie. This is not better. Is this better? I mean, maybe some people will have more of an explanation. There's nominally more information, but there's absolutely nothing stopping developers from lying to Google. And he also notes that, Google Play enforcement has been notoriously bad. They're like they're understaffed. They don't have enough humans looking at things, and enforcement has been like inconsistent and, or not there. So if a developer does lie and collects your data and uses it for nefarious purposes, maybe they'll get caught. Maybe they won't. So
maybe they won't. Yeah. Or they maybe they get caught eventually. But until then, who
knows?
Yeah. How does it impact people as they're not caught yet?
Yeah, and I feel like big developers it behooves good intentioned, like good players, to be honest, right? Bad actors, they don't care. And by the time that Google catches up with them, they might have gotten all that they need out of people that, downloaded their malicious app. So, I mean, in general, I was hoping that there would be some automated process to this. And when I was at Trello, one of my buddies on the team did this, and he said, it's just a survey. And there was some note of like human review, because we were asked for clarifications on a couple things, and that, we said we didn't use some kind of ID, but we did. So there was some human review, but we did this early. Like we were very good students and we finished it early. But now the deadline's coming up. Probably a lot of developers are kind of like rushing to fill it in at the last minute. And so who knows whether there's going to be humans left to review and how long that review is going to take. So I don't know. I'm always up for more information and also more human readable information, but this makes me nervous. How about you? So you guys,
I will say
feel the same?
This makes me nervous because you all just found out what I'm doing after the show tonight, because I still have to submit this for Scorbit. It's been sitting on my to-do list, and I knew it was the deadline, and so I'm going to be actually filling this out tonight after we do the show. So, and we don't save any identifiable user information, and we're one of the good people, so I'm fine to do it. But to your point, like I don't see how this deters bad actors. What is the investigation and the verification of this information process? I guess that's the big question. So
yeah, right. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, it's just great." Even and they're especially going to say, "Oh, it's just great." No, there's nothing to see here. If there is something to see there, yeah. So I'll be curious to see. Yeah, it is a bummer that it's not kind of a combination of both, right? Like some way to integrate the automated process that tells you what is factual and what is identifiable by a system, because it's just baked right in there, and an explanation from the developer to say what these things are used for. I'm really surprised that it doesn't do that, but I don't know.
I was surprised too. I actually had to double check with my now former teammates. I was like, I was like, well, was it generated from our permissions, or was it just like a free form? It was free form. And they just, that was like it. They also, my friend who worked on it, Justin, said, it feels a little like you could fit pretty easy if you really wanted to. So
yeah,
there you go.
And then what happens if a developer misses the deadline tomorrow?
You're basically, if either as a publisher, if you submit any new apps or if you have any updates, they may be rejected. That was the wording. They may be rejected.
Okay.
Which is interesting, because I kind of it's kind of fun when you're an Android dev in the community and you know folks at different apps. I actually went through all my friends' apps to see, and not to call anybody out, but see who had data safety sections and who hadn't. And I was kind of surprised actually how many big apps didn't have their data safety sections filled out. So I'm kind of curious what happens tomorrow, whether this is going to be a thing or whether everyone was like late on doing the homework, but the teacher's not checking tomorrow, so who cares? I don't know. It's going to be it's very interesting. Yeah.
So it impacts apps going forward. If you still haven't done it, your current version is going to stay the way it is. It's not like they're booting the app out of the storage.
Right.
That would probably be mayhem if they did that. But okay. You can't turn in a new version or release a new version of your app until you
right. And if you're a publisher, if you have any new apps coming in, and I guess you have any delinquent existing apps, new apps might be rejected as well. So
right. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a big one too. All right. Well, there you go. I bet you we have news that isn't so bummer coming up here. But first, let's take a moment and thank the sponsor of this episode of All About Android, and that is ClickUp. just imagine if you could reclaim time, if you could have one extra day every week, more time to do all the things you keep meaning to do, but you never have time for it, more time to cook healthy meals or work on that novel, maybe even just sit down and binge on some good reality TV, Florence Ion. But what would I do with an extra day? I'd probably, throw myself into the studio every day and actually record some music. That seems to be the thing that I can't find time for, and I would love to have extra time for. Well, now it's all possible with ClickUp, the productivity platform that'll save you 1 day a week on work, guaranteed. ClickUp began with the premise that productivity was broken. There were too many tools to keep track of, too many things in entirely separate ecosystems to manage between. There had to be a more productive way to get through the daily hustle. And that's ClickUp. ClickUp is the one tool to house all your tasks, your projects, your docs, goals, spreadsheets, and more. And actually, ClickUp is built for teams from one, you, to over 1,000 even, very large teams. It's packed with features and customization options that no other productivity tool has, so you can work the way that you work best. And so, and regardless of what you're actually doing, right? Project management, engineering, sales, marketing, HR, all of that stuff. ClickUp has easy-to-use solutions that create a more efficient work environment no matter what you're doing. Join the more than 800,000 highly productive teams using ClickUp right now, today. Use code ANDROID, and you'll get 15% off ClickUp's massive unlimited plan for a year, meaning you can start reclaiming your time for under $5 a month. Sign up today at clickup.com and use code ANDROID. Hurry. This offer ends soon. That's clickup.com. Use code ANDROID. And we thank ClickUp for their support of All About Android. Good to have you on board. All right. We've got some positive news coming up in today's hardware section. All right, Wynn, you got the first one. This was I'm excited for this.
No, this is really
what
fun.
Happens here.
Yeah, this is super fun because today, July 19th, Qualcomm announced new chips for Wear OS watches, the W5 Plus Gen 1 and the W5 Gen 1, I guess the normal one, which are, quote, purpose-built for the next generation wearables and actually are the king of the leakers, Evan Blass, actually posted on Twitter some marketing materials which give a lot of, the really jazzy numbers about what these new chips hope to or claim to provide, which includes things like 2x performance, 50% longer battery life, and at a 30% smaller size. And, the W5 Plus is particularly interesting. It's built on a 4 nanometer manufacturing process, which is a huge jump forward from the previous generation of the Wear 4100 Plus, which was 12 nanometers. So we're jumping from 12 nanometers down to 4 nanometers. That's incredible. Like I had to double check the numbers when I looked at it. It's amazing. And even the always on co-processor also is a bit smaller, stepping down from the previous 28 nanometers for the 4100 Plus down to 22 nanometers. So pretty awesome. And it's interesting because the normal W5 is actually meant for specific wearables. It's kind of like, very task focused, super optimized software stacks and wearables. Whereas the W5 Plus is aimed at full featured smartwatches and kind of has other things and other extras added to it over the 4100 Plus, like an integrated speaker PA, an integrated machine learning processor, and more advanced low power Bluetooth and more. And if we're talking about actually getting these super awesome W5 chips in your wearables, well, the W5, the normal W5, will be first seen in a Oppo watch, the Oppo Watch 3 series. And Oppo VP Franco Lee actually stated that this series will be launched in August and actually within the next 30 days, and that users will be delighted with better performance. Now, what's interesting is this Oppo Watch 3 series won't be using Wear OS, but a modified version of AOSP. But Ben Shun over at 9to5 Google notes that Oppo traditionally launches smartwatches in different sets of regions from the initial launch later, and then it's possible Wear OS might find its way onto these later launches, but we'll wait and see. And for the W5 Plus Gen 1, you're going to get that and Wear OS in the Mobvoi. I always never remember how to pronounce it. Mobvoi.
Yeah, Mobvoi, I think.
Mobvoi, makers of the TicWatch. And so the new version of the TicWatch Pro series, maybe, I'm not quite sure yet, but maybe the new version of the TicWatch Pro will get both this, again, W5 Plus Gen 1 and Wear OS. But for those TicWatch fans, you'll need to wait till, quote, later this year. There are 2 reference design watches being made by Qualcomm, from Compal and Pegatron, but they're not really going to be available to the general public. But hey, really exciting. I mean, that jump in the kind of like the transistor size is absolutely incredible. So we'll have to see what these new wearables can do in terms of performance. Pretty exciting though. So yeah, there you go. Look forward to faster Snapdragon W5 chips in your wearables coming in the next year or so. So yeah, good stuff.
So okay, it is super exciting. I think you know.
Is it super exciting?
Well, it's an improvement.
I don't want to sad trombone the wearables, but I don't know.
I'm with Ron on this one.
Thank you.
You're like, you don't care. It's just a wearable thing. Whatever.
It's just another wearable.
It's just so tiny, y'all, and it's got like I don't know. I mean I guess it's I studied to be a computer engineer, so I really love the idea. I love learning about like transistor and semiconductor technology, and I had to like look up. I was like 4 nanometers. Really, is that actually possible? And it is possible, and I do like that. And I know like the marketing. It's all hype. It's all fancy graphics and with bad contrast. Letting us know all these like incredible features, but I don't know, like sometimes I just feel like, you know, maybe some advancements in the chip might make wearables continue to be like, you know, day-to-day usable devices. I'm excited. Wearable. Yes,
because I'm like how thick is it? Yeah.
Let's say it's 30% smaller. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Smaller than the other ones. Yeah. And then the longer battery and better performance and all that stuff that you want to see. Here's where I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, but is that the Wear 4100 and then the Wear 4100 Plus were supposed to be really big advances, right? Prior to that, I can't remember the chip that was there prior, but it had been there for a really long time, and it really wasn't that, you know, that performant and everything. So once the 4100 came along, everyone was like, finally, Wear OS wearables can be good again. Like, this must be the thing that's holding them back. And then we saw, let's see here, I'm just looking just to kind of do this on the fly, but we saw maybe a handful of watches ever release with them. I think the 41 Plus, a 4100 Plus was released, as far as I can tell here anyways, on 2 watches. The 4100 was released, you know, on the Fossil watch, a couple of ticked watches. Like these processors, as far as I can tell, and I might be missing something. I almost feel like I have to be missing something because it can't just be a small handful of watches that ever use this processor that Qualcomm spent I don't know how long making. But it doesn't seem that there were very many smartwatches that broke through using this amazing advancement in wearable, you know, SoC. And now we've got the next one. So great. I'm happy that we have a better performing processor. Let's see more watches that actually use it. That's what I'm hoping for.
I mean, that's really fair. I mean, but that's kind of like the problem we have a lot with a lot of devices, whether it's from the small wearables to large screens, is both individual OEM taking advantage of the actual. So assuming that the chip is great and fantastic and my excitement is justified, there is going to be a question of whether OEMs can properly, you know, architect a device that, you know, is able to not interfere with any of these fantastic, you know, characteristics and performance, and that is architected well and still fits well, and that, you know, the software is good, and that overall that it meets the user appetite at the right time. So fair, totally fair. I'm so excited about the chip, but no, that's perfectly fine. A chip won't make wearables kind of like wearables on everybody's wrists. So that's a very fair point.
But Ron, will Wear OS 3 make wearables on everybody's wrist?
Or what is it that makes everyone want to put a wearable on their wrist? Is it possibly having the Samsung skin on top of your wearable? I don't know.
Or not having that skin?
Or just having the choice? Well, so the Montblanc Summit 3 launches this month, and that will be running Wear OS 3 with no skin. It's a naked Wear OS 3, everybody. It is the wearables got no clothes.
Look away, look away.
And Montblanc posted 10 how-to videos for the watch, which give a look at the vanilla version of Wear OS 3. And, unsurprisingly, it's pretty close to what some developers have seen in the emulator. Things look a bit more pixely and minimal compared to Samsung's take. Right now, this is our best case of looking at what the Pixel Watch UI might look like if this is just almost imagine like Android, what is it, AOP or what's the vanilla AOSP, yeah. Right? AOSP. Mm-hmm. The vanilla version of Android, how it compares to a Google device. Normally, they're pretty close in terms of how they look. So if you want a sense of what OS 3 might look like, this might be a good indicator from the people who bring you great pens like Montblanc, which is weird, but neat. I don't know. This is cool.
Yeah,
but
it does make me think the Pixel Watch is going to be the first wearable by Google, and so if this that we're seeing on the Montblanc is like the vanilla version of Wear OS 3. And right. Samsung had its own skin. Yep. Do you guys think that that the Pixel Watch is going to have its own pixely skin? I think it's going to be different from what we're seeing from Montblanc right now.
I think if they want to have unity or a lineage to the Pixel phones, they'll pick up the material, the bulbous and all stuff like that. I think you want to have it look somewhat familiar, right?
Wow, could you imagine if your Wear OS 3, your Pixel Watch picked up the color schema from your phone, from your wallpaper on your phone, and whatever's showing on your phone, your watch matched that. They have to do that. Like that should be as those words exit my mouth. I'm like, if they don't do that, that's a real big missed opportunity from a marketing standpoint, especially.
Yep.
No, it makes sense because they're trying to ecosystem. They're trying to Pixel. Yeah. They're trying to MCU Pixel. So it would only make sense for them to do that. Every MCU movie has to have the extra credit scene, and we're gonna need pixely launcher type custom, not pixel launcher, but yeah, we need to pixelize all the things in the ecosystem. So pixelate.
Pixelate, I like that. Yeah, but I mean, this looks nice. I actually do like what is shown off here. It's definitely different from what Samsung did, and that's kind of no surprise, right? Samsung loves to get in there and customize, and this definitely looks a little bit more bare, but not in a bad way, in my opinion. I kind of like the look of it. It's kind of got a sleek minimalism to it. So, and then finally, there is the Nothing phone, and last week we talked that it was announced. This week we had the reviews embargoes kind of lift and everything. Flo, of course, had reviewed it. So if you want to read her review, you can go to Gizmodo right now and check out her take on it. She will be joining the show next week to actually kind of walk through with the phone. So that'll be great. We'll walk through a review. But her short take was the Nothing Phone 1 is a compelling entry with its style and flair, but it's still just a mid-range Android phone. So that's a little teaser. You can go check it out. But the reason that we're talking about the Nothing phone right now, because she's going to give her full review next week, is that it looks like the Nothing phone is actually friendly for tinkerers. So at least it has that going for it. The bootloader is unlockable with a standard fast boot flashing unlock method. And the kernel sources for the device are now live. Not only that, Nothing published the full device tree. So basically all this means that modders, people who would create ROMs for a particular device and modify and everything like that, can actually get to work, custom kernels, custom ROMs for the device, probably coming soon, because it's open for business as far as that's concerned. And actually nowadays that's kind of a big deal, because there are a lot of phones that don't do that anymore. It's really more and more kind of developed into an ecosystem where that stuff is harder and harder to come by. Are you excited?
It is.
I love that. I can't wait to see what some custom, we were kind of talking about how, the LEDs are great, and that maybe there could be more that could be done with them in very novel, interesting ways.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Heck yeah. Like I love to see it. I actually I think just having it be, having the bootloader be unlocked and letting people kind of play around with it, especially given that, a lot of it's flash and flare, putting that flash and flare in the hands of some people with skills and a lot of imagination. I'm actually that is definitely a plus for me. And I hope that people can do cool things with that, and that maybe adds to the allure of this phone rather than, all this kind of other stuff that we've talked about. Because I definitely have been kind of not bored, but just kind of oh, that's nice. But it would be cool to see this kind of be like a flashy customizable phone. You know what I mean? Like to have it really, people really make something out of it, out of the back, or make DJ light parties that might cause you a seizure. But hey, if that's what you want, you go get it. So.
you do you. Yeah, music visualization. It's almost kind of a shame that the phone doesn't have a kickstand, because it would be kind of cool if you put it on kickstand, played some music through YouTube, and then as the music or whatever your music app is, and as the music was going through, the rear lights were doing kind of a light show onto the wall behind it or something like that based on the music. Well, that's just one thing a ROMer could do.
It's funny because I was talking about the Nothing phone to a friend of mine, and he was just like, yeah, no, I think the LED panels are really cool, but are they going to have a dev kit or an SDK to let apps leverage it, right? It seems kind of silly that it's just tied notifications and that's it, and that's all it can do, right? So why couldn't we have a audio visualizer that ties to YouTube Music or Spotify that lights it up? Although I think they're only white LEDs, right? They're not color LEDs.
Yeah, I think they're only white. Yeah,
it could do the dimming and the you could get some sort of movement from there, or at least having a way for developers to tap into it. Time will tell. I would have to think that they will eventually in some way, shape, or form. So, but we'll see.
I just did a quick search, and I'm happy I did, because 9to5 Google, and I just put it in the rundown, Burke, underneath the other links. 9to5 Google had an article earlier today that says Nothing Phone 1 has a hidden Glyph-lighting Music Visualization mode. Here's how to enable it.
Oh, look at that.
So apparently it's hidden. Spotted in the leak previously, not accessible by default, hidden possibly because it's not ready. So possibly this is an upcoming feature, which makes a lot of sense. That that kind of seems perfect, a perfect application to take those lights and put some kind of cool factor to it, along with music. That seems like a no-brainer. So potentially coming to a Nothing phone near you without the need for hacking by a third-party developer. But still, I would be curious to see how a third-party developer would tackle this and do it differently.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is going to actually look like, since it's a hidden feature and all. But cool. That's interesting.
Very cool.
That's different.
Yeah.
I like that. So. It's not quite holy cow, but it's something.
I mean, it's close. Yeah. It's making progress, I guess. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I think Flo's assessment of the Nothing phone it's a mid-range with some bells and whistles, and that's what it is. Period. Yeah. And so, but if we have another player, providing a mid-range phone and then trying to add bells and whistles and do things, it's a good start. That's where I'm netting out on this. So
indeed.
All right, well, let's take a break and thank our next sponsor of All About Android. This episode brought to you by Wealthfront. And Wealthfront is a financial services company founded in 2008 with the goal to make building long-term wealth delightfully easy. Isn't that wonderful? If you've seen the market lately, you probably don't like what you see. But seeing is a matter of perspective. Wealthfront is an investing app with a different vision, one focused on long-term wealth, designed to weather any market condition, even the one we're in now. With Wealthfront, you get a pre-built, diversified portfolio that spreads your investing eggs across more baskets. It's the time-tested way to build long-term wealth and weather whatever volatility is happening in the market. The trick to wealth isn't timing, it's time, because historically, the market has always rebounded. By automating your investments, it's easier to invest regularly, regardless of the ups and downs of volatility. So if you want to invest for the long term while the market is basically having a clearance sale, do not wait. The time is now. Wealthfront makes it super easy to start investing. Answer a few questions about your risk level and future plans, and you'll get a personalized portfolio built for the long term. That's really it. And you'll get a $50 bonus if you sign up today. Wealthfront was voted the best overall robo-advisor by Investopedia and is already helping nearly 500,000 people build their wealth with over $27 billion in managed assets. So get a bonus $50 when you start investing with Wealthfront. Sign up today. Just visit wealthfront.com/twit. That's wealthfront.com/twit. And this bit of investing wisdom is a paid endorsement from Wealthfront. And thank you, Wealthfront, for helping guide our investments and sponsoring this episode.
That's right. Thank you, Wealthfront. Yeah. All right. We've got some juicy news in apps. So let's jump in there and get started. All right. Nova Launcher. Nova Launcher's been around a long time. When it comes to apps that enable customization of devices without root, there's probably, I have to imagine there's probably features in Nova Launcher that are tied to root if you actually happen to have a rooted device. But, you know, most people aren't rooted and they want to change the look and feel of how their device runs. Nova Launcher is it. I mean, there are obviously other launchers, Action Launcher, Chris Lacey, but, you know, there are great launchers out there. But Nova Launcher, man, it's been out forever and it's been solid. And so it's one of the most popular launchers for Android. It has now been acquired by Branch. And this was announced, I think, in the last, maybe even the last day. Did this get announced today? Yeah, this was announced today. This Branch is a metrics company. Nova's existing developer team is going to remain intact. So first and foremost, they're not going anywhere. They're still going to be working on this on a daily basis. I think Kevin Barry is still going to be, involved and integrated with it and everything. Branch actually analyzes user metrics and then provides those metrics to developers. So it's pretty easy to kind of see what or how Nova might actually be beneficial for Branch, beneficial for developers to know how people are using that launcher and how that ties into their apps, their experiences, that sort of stuff. Apparently, you can expect A/B testing of features, new features within Nova, and Branch Analytics is actually going to be deciding, part of the deciding factor as far as what stays and what goes based on how users are actually using the launcher, so that could be a benefit. Branch also owns Sesame Universal Search, which is exactly as it sounds. It's like an on-device universal search process. So expect more search integrations in the app as well. It's actually already been there for a few years now. There's been that integration, but now they all belong to the same company under the same kind of parent company, Branch. So expect to see, I guess, more of that. And I think in general, anytime something like this happens, people start to kind of cower in fear of like, don't take my, this thing that I've loved and used for years and years and years and turn it into something awful, or don't take my data. Now suddenly this is a data analytics company and it's being sandwiched into this thing that I've used and loved forever. I don't want to use it anymore because what the heck happens with that data? And I think those are all justifiable perspectives on something like this. You don't ever truly know exactly what the long-term game is. Even in the beginning, they usually say, oh, we're keeping the team and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, those things change. They change because it's under a new owner. And at some point, those, they start kind of taking control of different aspects of it that they weren't in control of before for their own benefit, for their own reasons and everything. I'm not saying Branch has bad mojo or bad intentions or anything like that. I'm just saying that, probably the Nova Launcher, I have to imagine, is going to change in some way, and you may or may not like it. But that's kind of what happens at this point.
I will say Branch, we use Branch at Scorebit for our app tracking and user tracking and it allows you to do like deep links in the app and things like that. They've been good to work with. Awesome. I've heard of them. I'm aware of them. I have no complaints about them. So, so I'm excited for them. And it seems like if they're putting together different pieces of a mobile app ecosystem, it seems like Nova plugs into that pretty interestingly, similar to what was the other company they acquired, with the weird name with the S that you said?
Sesame Universal Search.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got Universal Search, you've got, an app launcher. They're already working with developers to use their kind of analytics and tracking systems and A/B testing and things like that within apps. Imagine what kind of possibilities you get with all these different pieces in place. It's interesting to see what their larger kind of goal is, for sure. So.
Yeah. Thank you for providing that context that you use them and everything. It certainly helps to kind of ground this a little bit better, because I think where I was speaking from is more kind of like the instant knee-jerk perspective that I see a lot on like places like Reddit and everything, where they see that and immediately they go, oh, well, I'm uninstalling Nova because it was just bought by this data analytics company and blah, blah, blah. But, Scooter X in chat points out over 100,000 apps use Branch since 2014. Adobe, BuzzFeed, Yelp, 3 billion monthly users across the globe. This is not a small company that isn't trusted by some big names out there. You know what I mean? Or some small unknown company. I haven't been too familiar with it because I haven't had an opportunity to work with it. But, based on what you're saying, I kind of feel like I understand it a little bit more.
Yeah. So cool.
It's really
glad I can
though.
add value. So
yeah, it's interesting because even day to day, development, like app development and software development, increasingly is just totally data driven. And that's kind of the goal, where you use tools like Branch or other kind of metrics libraries and services to understand what your users want. And so the notion of experimentation and A/B testing and trying to figure out what people want is a good thing. And really, it's really important to have that feedback loop of finding out whether what you're doing people are responding to. I think it's interesting because Branch, I would expect Branch is a tool, right? So usually other companies like Adobe, BuzzFeed, Yelp, and more would use them as a tool. And then the metrics that they use are towards their own, business goals and business, directives. Whereas Branch themselves, as the company that does the metrics, is buying Nova Launcher. And so it's interesting because usually when you use metrics driven, when you use data driven development, you have very specific things, but it's interesting that it's the person doing the metrics that is also the buyer and it's their business directive. So I'm kind of just curious where it goes. And to kind of to give, I don't think anyone should ever have a knee jerk reaction to things like a company getting acquired, but as someone who's been through an acquisition, the reality is that things are going to change. I don't want to freak anybody out.
Yeah.
But things do change, and usually when a product is acquired, it's a balance of keeping the current users and trying to maintain that product, but also using that product to meet business goals. How can this product help us sell other things that we're selling, or help enhance other products? So, it's a thing. It'll happen.
Yeah.
Whether it's tolerable or not, or whether it totally changes what you know and love as the Nova Launcher, it's going to take time to figure that out. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I think all points are very valid. Just got to wait and see what happens. So
yeah,
you always hope for the best with an acquisition. That's all you can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For sure. And big congratulations to friend of the show Kevin Barry for selling Nova Launcher like this. He's been doing it for a decade, I have to imagine, at least at this point. And it's nice after all that hard work to kind of get the big payout and see what's next. I'm certain that Kevin cares enough about Nova to feel that hey, I don't want this to just go to a company that's going to destroy the reputation or whatever. But yeah, we will have to wait and see what the direct impacts are on the app as a result of this. Who knows? It could just be, hey, we just think Nova's great, and who the heck knows? But I should also mention Nova Launcher 8 beta is out. Just released a couple of days ago. So if you're on the beta track for Nova, you can get version 8, and you'll want to. It includes full material use support. And then they also completely redesigned the settings pane, which has been a long time in the making. So good new features coming to the new release of the beta, Nova Launcher 8.0 beta. Look for it and get some material U in there as well. All right, Wynn, you got the next one.
Well, speaking of redesigns, we talked about this before. Basically, at Google I/O, Google announced that they were going to redesign Google Pay and turn it back to Google Wallet. So now, the newly redesigned but oldly named wallet is now rolling out to users. And it's kind of interesting because us folks here in the US and folks in Singapore are actually going to start seeing two payment and other related things apps in the Play Store living side by side. The old Google Pay and the new wallet will be living side by side in the Google Play Store, whereas for the rest of the world, they'll see a redesigned and rebranded update of the legacy Google Pay app. I mean, wallet, whatever it is. I mean, wallet, the thing where basically you're going to be storing both your debit cards, your credit cards, possibly your driver's licenses, your loyalty, and frequent shoppers. I wrote shoppers. I mean, if you're a frequent fruit shopper, you can certainly do that. But frequent shopper accounts and your COVID-19 vaccination records, all of that is going to be either in a brand new app or a brand new redesigned, rebranded wallet app. And Will Thalberg, a friend of the show, who kind of took a look at the new wallet app, notes that it's very material UE with lots of the themed colors and pill-shaped things. Though, strangely enough, the wallet app is not using dynamic theming for the icon. So just to let you know, that's why that it's still showing the good old Google colors when you see it. And kind of along with this is the July 2022 Google Play System updates. So Wallet, just like all of its predecessors and many other things, it built on Google Play services. So make sure that those need to be updated to make sure that you're ready for the new wallet. And basically the entire Google Play System update, which includes, components of the OS and the store as well. Make sure that you're updated with that. You can go to your settings app, check under About Phone, check your Android version, and see if you have a Google Play System update. There are a couple other things in the July 2022 update as well, including some interesting notes about adding some APIs for, quote, multi-device experiences. So yeah, along kind of hidden with your Google Wallet rollout, there might be some more of this, multi-device, ambient computing, Google everywhere type stuff in your future for us devs anyway, and hopefully in us as consumers' future. So there you go. Look for that new wallet and definitely make sure your Google Play System updates are updated, or your Google Play System is updated. So
Burke,
there you go.
I have to point you to a link that I just added in the rundown to this story area. Cousin of Ja in our Discord posted an image that is just perfect for this. So audio listeners, I'm sorry, but it's the meme with the Spider-Man, the two Spider-Men pointing to each other. Kind of like, you're the same, you're the same. Whatever.
It's three.
Is it three? Oh, that's right. It's three. That's right.
Yeah.
And then this one is 4. With Google Wallet, Android Wallet, GPay, and Google Pay Send. So it's kind of like, yep, you're who again? I'm who again? What? There's no reason for this to be so confusing, but it is what it is.
Yeah, actually, if you look
it's kind of not funny because it's so true.
Yeah.
It's not. No, it's not funny.
It is
at all.
like,
it's
yeah,
not
it's
funny at
100%
all.
true.
If you look in Will's article, actually, he has a table with links to, like, starting from Google, the OG Google Wallet. So these are all APK mirror links, and he has a list of all the Google Wallet, Google Pay, Android Pay, all the permutations, and it's just looking at it, just like, why is this list so long?
Yeah, it just keeps changing.
Just like, why is this
it can't make up its mind. Google Pay with Tez?
Deep sigh.
Tez, what was Tez? Wasn't that like a different country? It was like an India.
There's actually there's like a branch, because I think India's also in a weird spot because they had like a redesigned version, but they won't get the same like brand spanking new app, the Google Wallet app that the US and India are getting. But it's so confusing.
Yeah, Tez was like Google Pay for India. It was eventually folded into the new Google Pay app, the new Google Pay app in August 2018. So there you go. Wow. All of the things. All right. Look for that on your phone, I suppose, coming soon. Maybe, who knows? Maybe once it's on your phone, it'll all make sense magically. And you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. All right, Ron, you got the last one.
I do get the last one. And we're all... rapidly anticipating, hotly anticipating, just anticipating the release of the Google Pixel 6a. It's not out yet, Actually, pre-orders are starting on July 21st, which is this Thursday, and the phone will finally be available on July 28th. But you might be wondering why I'm talking about the new Pixel 6a in the apps block. Well, that's because there's a new app-based feature in the camera app that's been making the rounds and people getting excited. Google tweeted out the details of a new camouflage feature, which is similar to Magic Eraser, which, by the way, is just delightful to use, and I've used it to enhance many photos I've taken personally of my kids and things like that, take people out of the background. But this camouflage thing uses similar technology to select an object, and the AI will change the color of the object to better fit in with the rest of the image. So just think about that, how you can adapt an image to adjust the colors of other objects around it to fit into the image a little better. And there is a sample image from our friend of the show, I believe, right? Is that Michelle? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Michelle Roman. And I mean, that image is maybe not the best
not so
kind
great
of demonstration of it, just because it's like a red water bottle on a windowsill that ends up turning kind of like brown to match the color of the couch. The Google one that they put out it's like a sandy beach with kids playing, and then there's a giant red kind of cooler in the foreground, and then this camouflage thing kind of shades it brown so that it kind of blends in more with the hue of the sand, so it doesn't stand out as much, so it doesn't pop out. So it keeps the focus on, the colorful shirts and the kids that are playing in the foreground and everything. So, yeah. Okay.
That makes so much sense. And sometimes objects just take up too much of the frame or too much of the image that I'm guessing the machine learning just has a hard time of interpolating between, once the object is removed, interpolating it in a natural way. So like I had pictures of my niece where we tried to remove like all kinds of like brightly colored toys and like vacuums in the back. And it just ended up kind of with a lot of artifacts. So it looked less good. But I could see doing this just to, if anything, rather than having it be total, very artifact heavy, just making it toned down so you don't even notice it. So I'm into it. At first I was like, what, why do we need this? We already have Eraser, but kind of thinking about some of my Eraser experiments, this makes a lot of sense. If you can't beat it, cover over it. Camouflage it. If you can't beat it, camouflage it. Camouflage it. There you go. So I like it.
Yeah. Not sure how often I'll use this, but maybe
I don't know if it's going to be as big of a hit as Magic Eraser, but it'll be interesting to see what people do with it. I could see art being made out of this. So
yeah, sure, indeed, I love it. All right, let's take a break and thank the sponsor of this episode, and then we will get into some of your feedback. And this episode of All About Android is brought to you by Checkout.com. Checkout, we were talking about payments earlier in the show. That's kind of the business of Checkout.com. It's perfect. Tech should be groundbreaking. It should promote innovation. And, traditional payment systems, they're just heavily layered throughout. They're disconnected. They're perceived as a cost center to the business. And modern businesses actually need flexible payment systems. You need that flexibility so that you can adapt to change, you can grow, you can scale fast. And Checkout.com is just, they're a company that really approaches payments through an awesome kind of radical new lens. Checkout.com is a leading digital global payment solutions provider. Brands like Grab, Sony Electronics, Wise, Henkel, just to name a few. Checkout's flexible payments platform is purpose-built, has performance, scalability, and speed in mind. So it's ideal for businesses looking to integrate seamlessly better payment solutions at a global scale. With a dedicated team of local experts actually spanning 19 offices in 5 continents. So you get a lot of spread there. Checkout.com offers a strategic partnership to help businesses improve their acceptance rates, optimize their payments performance, and grow their business globally. Checkout.com exists to enable businesses and their communities to thrive in this digital economy that we spend so much of our lives in. They deliver innovative payment solutions that flex to your needs, valuable insights that are going to help you get smart about your payments performance, and then also expertise that you can count on as you navigate the complexities of this ever-shifting digital world. And you get so much with Checkout.com. You get global optimization, like I talked about. They're across the globe. They provide local acquiring in multiple geographies, improving authorization rates and lowering costs in the process. You get a transparent fee structure. It's clear, it's straightforward. And they also have in-depth reporting that gives you visibility no matter where you operate. And they have dedicated local teams that provide regional, local expertise, also international and regulatory expertise, by the way, allowing you to navigate market complexities with total confidence. They take a collaborative, personalized approach actually to solving the complex problems for their merchants and ecosystem partners. So it's a very strategic partnership as a result. And something that I love is the modularity of the payment system. It's something that you can really appreciate. You might not know what exactly you want to implement when you start up with checkout.com. And then later, once you know, it's super easy to spin up the module that works. That's freedom. That's flexibility. It's super awesome. That's why checkout.com is so cool. Discover how checkout.com can help your business thrive. And you can do it really easily. All you have to do is go to checkout.com/Android. Very easy to remember. Please do that because then they know that you heard about it on All About Android. That's checkout.com/Android. And we thank checkout.com for their support of this show. All right, it's time for some emails, AAA@twit.tv, or you can leave us a voicemail. Most don't, but if you do, you might get played on the show, 347-SHOW-AAA. And Ron, you got the first, this looks like a novel. You got the first novel.
I do have, I know, Jason, when you were out, we had a very, very long question, and I feel like this is in a direct response to that one. Not really, okay. But waka waka. Congratulations, Wayne Spinks. You may not be the email of the week. You're not it. Just to be clear, you're not it. But your email is so succinct. Didn't say it. But anyway, your email is so succinct that I feel like I need to give you an award for possibly our shortest email that we've done in the community section in a while. Wayne asks very simply, is there a reliable ad blocker app for Android? And easy question. Man has a question. We can give you a somewhat easy but also complicated answer. The long answer. Let's say the long and the short answer is that yes and no. So basically, depending on how you use your phone, there are no ad blocker apps available in the Google Play Store. And that's actually because if you go into the support section of Google on a page titled Device and Network Abuse, Google outlines the apps that they don't allow in the Google Play Store. And this is almost ad blockers to a T. They say on the page, we don't allow apps that interfere with, disrupt, damage, or access in an unauthorized manner. Uses the device, other devices or computers, other APIs, including but not limited to other apps on the device, any Google service, or any authorized carrier's network. So that big section basically makes ad blocker apps no bueno in the Google Play Store. Now, that said, this is Android, and there are ways around that, depending on what you mean, Wayne. And Jason and Wynn, correct me if I'm wrong or if I go awry here. But if you're looking for an ad blocker on the browser level, those do exist in the Google Play Store. You can download a browser that has an ad blocker in there if you wanted to or not. You know, like I feel like the Brave browser is one of them.
Brave,
Firefox is a browser.
Firefox
Focus.
does it.
Yeah, exactly.
Does the DuckDuckGo browser actually block ads? I mean, it blocks trackers and stuff, but I don't know about
but there's also ad blocker add-ons.
It just gives you a less ad experience.
Less ad version.
Yeah. Or search.
There's also browsers that have ad blocker plugins or add-ons like the main Firefox browser or Dolphin browser. All right, so if you're looking to block your ads on the web, you can do it on a browser. If you're looking to block your ads completely from your phone, including the ads that are served in other apps, you won't be able to get it from the Google Play Store. But that said, there are solutions out there. Adaway is something that is available for if your phone is rooted. You can pick that up on F-Droid, which is not the Google Play Store, and you would need to do root access, so not so easy for the common user. AdBlock Plus is actually, kind of, everyone's heard of AdBlock Plus. We know it's out there. There are rooted and non-rooted versions to get it. You just go to their website and you can get it through there. So there are ad blockers out there. And if you do some Google searches, you can find it, but it's not going to be
AdGuard is another one.
AdGuard, yeah.
That works.
It's not going to be, it's not going to be super interesting, or not going to be super easy to do. And to echo what Burke just wrote in the background in our chat, you should never use them. And I don't know if you want to say, I would never go as far as saying you should never use them, but your mileage may vary. And what you're doing is you're using a piece of software that may not be protected in the way that the Google Play Store protects apps. So you got to be careful. You're kind of moving into a murky area of Android with this.
Yeah.
So
just really be careful. Be sure that who you're getting that supposed ad block, app from
isn't something
is
more
reputable.
malicious.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
But they do work. And then you also, there's also the ethical aspect of this too, which is, okay, so if you're blocking apps, on a system-wide basis, there's a lot of people, developers, all sorts of people who make their money off of Android, either in ways that you recognize and that you see and that you would support, or that you would, recognize as something that you don't want to see, like they're overdoing it, they're placing ads in a million different places, and why do they do that? This is annoying. It's prohibiting how I limiting how I use the device, but also in other ways that maybe you don't see that, or maybe a little bit more imperceptive. But anyways, how do you feel about this? What do you think?
I mean, I basically agree. My number one concern would be just user safety. I mean, basically, and if you go into the Google Play article about this for support, the title of the article is Device and Network Abuse. And I get that ads can be intensely annoying and that some app developers are just cramming them in your face in a way that basically makes their apps nothing more than ad servers rather than actual apps that serve the utility. I totally get that, and I absolutely sympathize that. As a developer, it makes me nervous when a user puts something on their phone that could interfere and intercept my network calls. It might be benign, it might not be, and that makes me really nervous. So yes, they're annoying, but please protect yourselves. As Jason and Ron already said, protect yourself. Please be careful when you do this, just because it's just be careful. And and again, as Jason said, I know ads suck, but it's sometimes how developers pay the bills. And so, yeah. I get it.
And here's the thing. If you're using an app and you don't like the way ads are popping up in that app or the way they work, go find another.
Yeah,
don't use it. You know what I mean? That's the choice you can make.
Review and
right. Yeah, the unfortunate thing is sometimes there are, like, games are really, I see this a lot on the games that my kids install on their tablets, where, like you said, like literally, okay, yes, sure, there's a game there, but it is absolutely designed to be an ad serving, ATM. Like, that's all it does. It's just, it has this little fragment of a game, this little smidgen of a game, 20 seconds of play before it finds another opportunity to serve you a 30-second ad. And, that's infuriating. It's probably not a game that you need installed on your device if that's the case, right? Like the balance is off there. And so, just remove it. So there you go. All right, when you have the next email. And thank you for emailing Wayne and keeping it so succinct. Appreciate that.
All right, well, the next one is from Matt Bat. And Matt Bat writes us saying, I was digging through some pictures from 60 years ago, and I came across an Auto Awesome video that I saved of my kids. Back then, Google Photos was free, and it gave us so much more. I could make animated GIFs with a series of pictures, edit video montages. It would bring up, quote, this day in history pictures, and it was usually pretty awesome. The only notifications I get from Google Photos nowadays is, you're running out of space, buy more. And would you like to buy a photo album from us? Glory days when Android was cool.
Oh. Wah, wah. Yep. Google's, has the opportunity to sell you more stuff, right?
But here's the thing, and I don't mean to be a wah against this type thing. I get notifications from Google Photos every day with here's you and your daughter look back on this day, you and your wife. The stuff Matt Bat is saying he misses, and he's only getting out of the things to sell against. Did something change on your side? Because I'm getting as much, if not more than ever, of curated photos of my photos than I'm getting. Hey, go buy a photo album from us. So
that's a good point.
I mean, I get the complaining that they're trying to sell stuff more, and like Lord knows I can't stand. Like I was playing around with the photo book maker, and then I abandoned it. It's like, you forgot something. Like, no, I didn't. I don't want it anymore. Like, go away. But like, I'm getting lots of notifications of highlights. Like, I love the recent highlights, and I love the highlight collections that they do. So I don't know, not to be a naysayer on your email, Matt, but I don't think it's that bad for sure. I'm getting 6 notifications per day. All right, and also here's a great tip for you, Matt. Also, if you go into the app info for Google Photos, right, you can tap on notifications. And you can turn off specific notifications, turn them on or off. So promotions is the one that promotions is the one that you would want to turn off. I know it's hard to read here, but it's right there. Promotions, right? And so you can turn off those promotions, and you will never get those. You'll get nothing but memories and creations.
How about other too?
Yeah.
Yeah. What falls in other? Everything else. That's exactly where I was going to. So good call, Ron. That's a usable tip.
I want to see my notification, because I turned on my notifications history, which I don't know why it took me so long to do. And I want to see if I can see how many promotional ones I've gotten. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I had a similar experience to Matt Bet. I want to say like a year and a half ago, where I felt like I was just getting albums, and I actually don't remember if I turned on the toggle or not, but maybe I don't know if there was some analytics or some user behavior analysis going on as well, where they were like, okay, she's sick of this, just send her the collages of her niece and let's just move on. So I definitely have experienced what Matt Bat has experienced, but not lately. I definitely have gotten a lot more collages and a lot more like useful notifications. So I don't know. Definitely try the tip.
Is it called suggestions now?
So here's the thing. 2 thoughts here. One is I'm looking the Google notification history only keeps 24 hours worth of notifications, right. And so I only have one from photos in the last 24 hours, which was we made a cinematic photo for you, and they brought a photo to life in 3D, which is nice. But I've been guilty of this, and I'm sure you guys have too, where in getting a notification at an ill time, I'm either doing something on my phone or working something and get hit with a notification, and I just go to swipe it away. I've accidentally like turned off notifications, or like, or did the drop down and made it so like, don't show me these anymore by mistake. So there could be a chance that maybe you turned off those today in history notifications and memories and things like that, and all you're getting are promotions. So go look at your settings. So
good call. That is a usable tip right there. And that goes for all apps on your phone. I think it's easy to forget, because Google rolls out so many features all the time, right? Each and every year, these large list of new features that your phone can do, and around notifications, that's just one of many things that you can get really detailed and really granular on this if you want to, and you can really control exactly what you see.
If there's any websites still doing any content on blogs about Android phones, truly about Android, here's a tip: do like hidden gems of Android, or deep secrets, because the notifications control on Android 12, and now it's just going to get better on Android 13, is so robust, so powerful. Being able to specify the types of notifications per app and turn them on or off. I mean, I couldn't even imagine that 10 years ago when we started playing, with Android, right? Like, to have that granular level of control. It's pretty cool. So
yeah, and at the same time, you could also go down a rabbit hole with this, right? Like, I don't see this as a project that I sit down and say, for the next hour, I'm going to go into each and every app and select the notification I want to see and deselect the ones I don't. I do this on an ongoing basis. So when a notification appears in my notification pane and I'm like, I don't care. Like, I never want to see that again. I take the moment to long press on that notification, open up the expanded notifications page, and then I work on that app. And I say, what are all the notifications that I do and don't want to see from this particular app? And then that's done, and I move on with my life. And then the next time I see one that I don't like, then I go in there and I do the same thing. So it doesn't have to be like, okay, great, now I've got to spend an hour, thinking about what notifications I want and don't want to see, unless you have something in mind that you want to check out. But do that.
Sorry.
All
related
right.
tangent, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that makes me think of like having to decide how to organize your notifications as a developer can be really daunting, because I know when I was working at Trello, we have notifications for everything, every single thing a user does. And some people like them and some people hate them. And there's a few different ways that developers can organize notifications, but you're never going to satisfy everyone. And it's kind of funny to see to try to cover everyone's cases where they want really granular control, and other cases where people are like, I don't want anything, just give me one big button. So I don't know, just a little bit of sympathy for the developer, but I totally agree with you. Too many notifications, especially marketing kinds. But anyway, just think about the hours I spent on that.
Cool. Well, thank you, Matt Bat, for emailing. We appreciate it. And all right, and now it is time for the email of the week. And this email is from Dave, also known as Blue Grunt Fatalk. I don't know if I'm reading that right.
That sounds like Klingon.
Yeah.
Okay. That really makes sense, because he ends the email with LLAP, or live long and prosper. So there you go.
Yep.
Hey guys, love this. You got it. See, I had to look up LLAP. I literally had to do that earlier today. I was like,
Jason, nerd card rescinded.
I'm not a Star Trek guy, so there's that.
Oh, wow.
This is the
I know, right? I have the nerve. Anyways, not to take from your email, Dave. I love it.
The Noive.
The Noive. Dave says, hey guys, love the show. Been listening and watching it since episode 252. I love that he just happens to know the episode number. Yeah, it was then. That's when I started that one episode. Gotta say, it's a blast, and keep up the amazing work you do. Thank you, Dave. Says, I have been particularly interested in your story about adverts on lock screens. I work for an MVNO in the UK, which is from the country's biggest supermarket, Tesco Mobile. Way back in 2016, coincidentally, the same year episode 252 aired, Tesco Mobile introduced a new service called Tesco Mobile Extras. It was run by an Australian company called Unlocked, and upon installing the app, the customer would get an advert when the phone was unlocked, and in return, they would get is that British pounds sterling, or is that €3? I can never remember. I always have to look it up.
Australian dollars.
Oh, okay. There we go. Sure. Whatever. Off their bill. It was actually very popular. According to some articles, 140,000 customers signed up for this service. Tesco Mobile has over 5 million customers, by the way. The ads were from well-known brands and were static adverts, i.e. non-video. However, this popular service ended after Google won a case in the courts, allowing them to block the ad tech startups' access to the Android operating system. It does seem kind of ironic that the company would prevent a third party from providing this service, and then a few years later, potentially explore the possibility of tying up with a third party to deliver the service themselves. Live long and prosper. Thought that was a good bit of insight into something that y'all talked about while I was out. That was the episode that I was gone. But apparently they've been doing that in Australia. Like that's old news in Australia. What y'all think?
Australia is very interesting. I don't know. Just in terms of their approach to a lot of things. I don't know. I think that's fascinating. So
yeah. Very cool. Well, we'll see what happens here in the U.S. and if this actually continues and starts appearing on our lock screens. I don't know. Still don't know how I feel about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whether I actually want any information. I just want full control. That's my thing. I want to retain control of my lock screen, as I do all over my device. So it's hard for me to think about being okay with something like that. If I paid full price for the device. If I haven't, that's the trade-off, and I'm okay with that. I understand. So there you go. Yes. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. Congrats for being the email of the week. All right, and we have reached the end of this episode of All About Android. It's been a lot of fun. What do you want to leave people with?
I am indeed an Android developer, and I often talk about Android things. And you can find my talks, code, and videos at my website, randomlytyping.com. And you can find me talk about Android and pretty much all kinds of other stuff on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Code Monkey.
Right on.
Yes.
Thank you. It's good to see you. Always good to hang out with you. Thank you for bringing your fresh perspective, your dev perspective on this show each and every week. We really do appreciate it. And then Ron, what you got?
Yes, sir. You can follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at RonXO. And if you're looking for something else to listen to, I forgot to mention it when it came out last week, but I think I forgot to mention it. But go check out iFanboy. This month's Media Explode. I'm on there. We're answering listener questions, a lot like what we do on the show here. And so you can go to iFanboy.com. It's in the feed there. It came out on July 7th, I think. So it was right after the 4th of July that episode came out. And you can take a listen to it there. Fun time. There it is for our video viewers. You can see us answer some fun questions, had a good time talking about movies and pizza and stuff like that. And check out Scorbit in the Google Play Store. Track pinball scores. I'm going to go fill out my data safety questionnaire tonight.
Hopefully it doesn't take too much time. And,
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Super fast after you take out the garbage.
I got to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Big thanks to Burke at the studio for chipping in today, pushing buttons, making the show happen live. Couldn't do it without you. Also, thanks to Anthony, who I believe is editing the show today. I see him in the doc anyway, so I think it's Anthony and not Victor. And if it is Victor, well, thanks to you too, because you're awesome as well. As for me, well, you probably know already that Leo Laporte is out all week. He's on the Twit cruise with Paul Thurrott and a whole bunch of other fans who are on the cruise in Alaska. So Micah, Ant, and I are kind of filling in the gaps for while Leo is gone. I am going to be filling in for Leo tomorrow on This Week in Google. So check out This Week in Google. We'll talk probably a little bit about Android, but also about Google in general and a whole lot of other big tech topics and things like that. So looking forward to that. Also Tech News Weekly this Thursday with Micah Sargent, but you can find me at Jason Howell on Twitter if you want to find me there. Don't forget, also, we have a ad-free subscription tier that we lovingly call Club Twit. All of our shows with no ads, an exclusive Twit Plus podcast feed that Ant Pruitt is just doing so many cool things, bringing exclusive content to that feed. It's pretty awesome stuff. A book club, interviews with guests. I mean, new shows are being introduced into the feed. So much to look for there. And then also a members-only Discord access. That's $7 a month, or you can pay for the full year, $84 per month, twit.tv/clubtwit. And support us over there. We appreciate it. And you get a whole lot as a result as well. But that is it for this week's show. Twit.tv/AAA is the show page on the web to go find all the information that you need to know all about Android. We do this show every Tuesday. So if you're subscribed to the podcast, as you can find that information there on the show page, you will get this episode automatically sometime late Tuesday, early Wednesday, ready for your morning commute. You don't even have to think about it. It's pretty awesome. Don't you just love RSS? But that is it for this week's episode of All About Android. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we will see you next time. That's next Tuesday on All About Android. Bye, everybody.
Good night.
If you are looking for a midweek update on the week's tech news, I gotta tell you, you gotta check out Tech News Weekly. See, it's all kind of built in there with the title. You get to learn about the news in tech that matters. Every Thursday, Jason Howell and I talk to the people making and breaking the tech news, get their insights and their interesting stories. It's a great show to check out, twit.tv/TNW.